Joining us now is Claire McCaskill, former U.S. Senator from Missouri, and Elise Jordan, former aide to the George W. Bush White House and State Department. Both are MSNBC political analysts. Who want to go first?
Welcome very much. Well, that was rich. This whole evening was just filled with a lot of stuff. Elise, I want to start with you on an aspect of this, which I thought was, how should we put it, rich. It was a rich moment for me when Trump talked about an unelected bureaucracy. Let's take a quick listen to that, please.
We have hundreds of thousands of federal workers who have not been showing up to work. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy, and we will restore true democracy to America again. And any federal bureaucrat who resists this change will be removed from office immediately. Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
So there were two aspects of that I thought were rich. One, the bobbleheads behind the president voted for those bureaucrats in that bureaucracy, that they're now sitting there watching be deconstructed with broad smiles on their face. Second, the most obvious unelected bureaucrat at the center of all of this is Elon Musk. And I think, for me at least, as I hope for a lot of Americans, they're beginning to see now just how dangerous this proposition could be. What was your take in contextualizing that moment against the backdrop of this evening?
It is interesting to me how Elon Musk has done a pretty good job of making Donald Trump still feel relatively unthreatened. Why would you give Elon Musk a prime seat at your State of the Union to highlight that he has a front and centered role as an unelected bureaucrat? Yet that's what Donald Trump did. And all night, that was basically the tone of Donald Trump saying that he's going to cut he's going to cut taxes on your wages, that he's going to cut taxes on Social Security. All these moves that Republicans are hoping that he's not going to do, he still is embracing. He just doesn't get yet that he is in a more politically perilous position when it comes to the economy than he is portraying and giving out to the world. He's stuck in the culture war, but America wants to know what's happening to the stock market, what's happening with the price of eggs.
Yeah. And he's not alone in being in that perilous position. He is taking Republicans in Congress with him for the ride. There was something about him standing in front of the legislative body and talking very little about legislation or how they are going to be partners in this agenda. Most of this he wants to do by executive fiat.
Alicia, don't you know he's king? He doesn't need them. To heck with that other branch. He's got Elon. You know, the biggest laugh line was that he was going to balance the budget. That was the biggest laugh line in the whole speech. I mean, I spit my Diet Coke when he said that. If anybody believes this guy is capable of balancing a budget, well, then you need to go live in Greenland, which will not be part of the United States. And I got to tell you, the contrast between him and the senator from Michigan, I mean, she nailed it. That's a really hard thing to do. And I just want to give her props because she did exactly what needed to be done. She kept it real, relatable. She talked about things that people care about. She explained things in a way that made perfect sense. And you know what else she did? She actually did it and was likable. And I got to tell you, talking to senators today, the difference between the Democrats and this speech and any other time I have been around where there's been a George Bush giving a State of the Union or whether there was even Donald Trump in the first term, the level of disgust that people feel about what this man is doing to our democracy is real palpable. And I get it that everybody's frustrated that there's not some phoenix rising from the ashes leading us to the promised land. It's going to be hard and messy for a few months. But he's in a horrible position in terms of the economy, and he's in an even worse position in terms of getting stuff through Congress.
Let's play some of Alyssa Slotkin. I have something to say about the Democrats, but I'm going to hold my power. Let's play Alyssa Slotkin talking about the prices going up.
President Trump is trying to deliver an unprecedented giveaway to his billionaire friends. He's on the hunt to find trillions of dollars to pass along to the wealthiest in America. And to do that, he's going to make you pay in every part of your life. Grocery and home prices are going up, not down, and he hasn't laid out a credible plan to deal with either of those.
This is what Claire was talking about. It was clear, it was direct. It's like he hasn't laid out a plan for any of that. Look, Donald Trump did talk about grocery prices on the campaign trail. He talked about the eggs going down. He also talked about rounding up undocumented people. He talked about letting RFK do whatever he wants with women, with the HHS. He talked about Elon Musk coming in. Everything. He talked about the tariffs. I mean, I don't know. I'm not buying the thing that, like, oh, the Americans really just want the prices. That's what they all voted for. Nobody voted for some of the other stuff. They didn't think the other stuff was going to be this bad, is my estimation. And now the chickens, for lack of a better term, because they're not laying no eggs right now, Claire, are coming home to roost. But, I mean, am I right? Am I wrong?
Well, I think some of the people who voted for Trump were all in on his MAGA rally speeches. There's about 15% of the people that voted for him, Simone, that don't like him. They actually thought he was going to be better for them in terms of the personal things they were worried about in their lives. They're not Trumpers. They're not really, many of them probably voted for Joe Biden. And what we know is that is the swing vote in this country that actually decides who has power. And he thinks everybody who voted for him loves him, and he is wrong about that. And he is not addressing those people and the reason they voted for him. And you know what? We can snatch them back. We can snatch them back.
Yeah, but
how they gonna snatch it back, Michael, when they holding up bingo or auction signs?
I was gonna say, well, thank you, Simone.
Can we talk about it?
The bingo signs were killing me. I don't know who thought up the bingo signs, but they should be fired.
Michael, this is an indictment, in my opinion, on the Democratic leadership. I talked to a lot of members during they was texting. The staff were on my phones and they were calling. And I think the best way to describe it is the Democratic leadership said they didn't want disruptions and they wanted people to attend and bring a guest, and they wanted, little business as usual, and we're fighting back in other ways. There is a palpable disgust, as Claire said, from not just the members, but their constituents. And it's like a pot, as someone described it to me, that's boiling, and it's about to bubble over. If you do not allow the members a space to release valve, it's going to bubble over. And this was the visuals are not taking back the House in 2026. Not these visuals. Where's the signs? Put the signs up, folks,
The dry
please.
erase board with different messages.
Oh my gosh,
you
it
don't
was
think
crazy.
that's
Put the paddles up, y'all. Do we have something of the paddles?
But here's the thing. Here the thing about the moment for me for folks, if you really want to understand the difference between Republican control and Democratic acquiescence, it's in how two things happened in that chamber and how they were handled. When Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert stood up and showed their behinds on the House floor, all right, when they just act a fool, shouting and talking and being loud and disruptive, what happened?
They stayed.
They stayed. Democrats didn't threaten them. Democrats didn't tell them to sit your behind down and shut up, right? Order in the House.
Well, what happened? What should the Democrats done?
But what happened tonight?
Well, what should have happened tonight?
What happened then is what happened tonight. Because the Republicans weren't coming to play. They weren't going to give the Democrats the quarter. They knew what they were going to do. They knew they were going to try to be disruptive in some form. And their goal was to shut it down in one of two ways. And both of them worked. USA, as if they own that, that moniker, and throw them out.
I guess
but
you mean
what should have the Democrats done instead of what they did?
Out.
No, I'm talking about tonight. What should the Democrats have done tonight instead of what they did?
Some of us believe they shouldn't have shown up. Or if they showed up at a certain point, here's the deal. When the congressman was kicked out, half that room should have left with him. Because that was the point. He was the only one to stand up and say, I'm not going to sit here and let you lie in this chamber. I'm not going to let you get away with this because you're lying right now. And instead of calling the man a lie, like they did to Barack Obama.
I remember, I was there.
Right?
And nothing happened.
And what happened then?
Didn't he got a pat on the wrist afterwards?
I think there is
So
what
that's the
happened
thing.
tonight, but I also think there is what happens tomorrow. And I think part of Democrat strategy is to let the man speak for himself. Can we play the sound of Trump describing tariffs as just a little disturbance?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh. And look where Biden took us. Very low, the lowest we've ever been.
A concession in there, Claire, an admission.
Oh, yeah. No, and interesting. Today, his Commerce Secretary came out and said he was going to roll back the tariffs tomorrow. Tomorrow, he was going to roll them back. There was going to be a compromise on Wednesday. So either he's folding tomorrow and he's going to pretend he didn't fold, or the Commerce Secretary has been put out way out on a limb, and it's going to be sawed off behind him because Trump is going to wait for the little disturbance to set in.
I want to know how much money was going to be made when that happens.
Oh, I know. Somebody's going to make money behind the scenes. And by the way, the SEC and DOJ will not prosecute them.
No, they won't.
know.
They won't because
I wonder who's
these are
getting
not the
paid
norm.
tomorrow in the market.